Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to review over the Skora Pulses. Alright guys, so Skora just sent me over these shoes for review, but we have no prior agreement whether I should do a positive negative review. It's my own thoughts on this shoe. They also won't get a chance to preview this video before it gets released on YouTube. They'll be watching it for the first time, just like you guys are. So let's talk about Skora and these shoes. These are the Skora Pulses. Skora is a brand that has been around for about 10 years, maybe more. That's when I first found out about them about 10 years ago. That's when I got the Skora cores. These are the Skora cores right here. Skora marketed themselves as a premium shoe brand. So these shoes were pretty expensive. I think at the time back then, 10 years ago, they were about 150 bucks. So they were pretty pricey shoes back then. And these shoes right now, they're about $155. So they're still in the higher end as far as money-wise for shoes. But like I said, they market themselves as a premium shoe brand. You would find their shoes at like Neiman Marcus or Saks Fifth Avenue. So these shoes were, meant for premium buyers. So that's why they had a premium price. But these shoes also were really known for being super minimalist. Like you can see right here, you could roll these shoes up in a little ball. You could twist them whatever way you wanted to. These shoes basically only had the outsole. They had no midsole whatsoever, so they were super minimal. And back then in 2010, 2011, 2012, when these shoes were really popular, that's what people loved. That's when the Born to Run book came out and people were looking at minimalist shoes, and that's what Skora came out with. They came out with some minimalist shoes, and their motto actually was run real, meaning that you should run the way you're supposed to run natural basically, which is going to be more midfoot, and you're supposed to feel everything. So that's what these shoes were made for. I love these shoes so much that I actually bought two pairs. So I actually have two pairs of shoes, and these shoes were great. I love them. I still use them every once in a while, and actually I'm a big fan of Skora. I have a lot of their shirts. You can find them at Marshall's. I have their shorts and pants, and I'm also part of their Facebook group, the Skora Insiders. That's where people who love Skoras, the original Skoras, they would actually trade their shoes. Some people bought all this leftover stock because Skora did stop making shoes around 2014, 2015. So they stopped making shoes and people started hoarding their shoes. And up till now, there's still a lot of trading going on between Skora lovers. They would trade their shoes. And we always wondered when Skora was gonna come back. And Skora did tease us that they would come back year after year. And we kind of gave up really because they would always tease us, give us emails about their comeback. But it wasn't until last year when Skora did come out with two shoes. They came out with this shoe, the Skora Pulse, and they also came out with a Skora Kiori. And this is a far cry from what these shoes are. You can tell that they changed their shoe to more of a traditional design. They now have a midsole over here, and it's a lot different. And this is the 2mm variant, and we're gonna talk about this shoe today. And I'm gonna try to not compare these shoes to these shoes because the Skora Pulses are nothing like the old Skoras that they made before. So let's go ahead and start the review. All right, so first off on the shoe, we'll take a look at the aesthetics of it. This is the blue and green colorway. I'm not a big fan of the colorway. It is bright for runners, but it's too smurfy for me. But other than that, we could talk about the upper. The upper is made of a soft mesh material. You can see it over here at the upper, over here, and over here. Other than that, it's covered with this kind of skin over here. I wouldn't call it leather. It's some type of rubber or I don't know, but whatever it is, I feel that it restricts you from moving. If the shoe is purely made out of this mesh-like material, the uppers would be more stretchy, but because it has this kind of rigid second skin over here that's covering a lot of the shoe, especially at the parts where I don't want it to be, like right here, I feel that it really constricts the movement over here. So it gives the upper a lot more firmer feeling than if it didn't have it on there. So that's one of the parts that I'm not a big fan of. It really constricts the movement right here. So if you go to the forefoot over here, it has the toe guard over here. This is a softer material. I actually wish that they used this material over here for over here, because this material on the toe guard is not as firm as whatever this stuff over here is. I'm telling you, this is really restricting for me. And then we go to the heel cup. The heel cup is cushioned by a memory foam type of material. And then of course you have this pull tab. Great thing. I love pull tabs on shoes. The problem with this heel is that it felt like my heel was pretty loose in there. I didn't feel as if my heel was locked in. And also, this is either way too low or way too high, because the heel was really rubbing on my Achilles, and it actually caused a few blisters whenever I was running. So that was one of the issues that I had with it. It was either too high or too low, or just maybe too loose, where it caused a lot of rubbing on my Achilles, and I wasn't a fan of that. All right, so if we go to the front, one of the features that it does have is, if you see the tongue has some holes. That's supposed to lead to more breathability of the upper. So that's one of the features that they made sure to mention to me. And they also have these loops on the shoelaces. If you have the traditional hole punches like you have right here, all down the shoe, that usually causes some pressure points. But what Skora has is the loops. So they have shoelace loops, and they say that this prevents the pressure points and leads to a better fit. And also they have an offset lacing, so it's more anatomical to your foot compared to the traditional straight up and down type of lacing. And then we move into the insole. The insole is made out of a memory foam type of material as well, so it's nice and cushy. I did actually kind of like this. It was a nice feeling for me on the run. It wasn't too plush, but it was good enough. But you do need this plushness, because I felt like the midsole that it's made out of, and this is an EVA foam that they have, I felt that it was super firm. Combine that with the firm upper, you have a firm midsole. It was a firm ride to me overall, but I'll talk more about the ride in a little bit. So from what I saw, they have an EVA foam. This is really the new part that they added with Skora's, was the midsole. And this is a 2mm drop shoe. Skora made two different shoes. Like I said, they made the Hiyori, which is a 6mm, and they made this shoe, which is a 2mm drop, basically 17mm to 15mm. This shoe is made more for those people that love zero drop shoes, but they also had the 6mm drop shoe, which was made to introduce you to running in more zero drop shoes. So basically you would go from the Hiyori, which is 6mm, to this shoe, which is 2mm, and then finally into a shoe like this that they promised that's going to come out, but they haven't re-released these out yet. And then if you look into the outsole, the outsole is basically the same blown rubber that they have on the old shoes. If you're a Skora lover, you will know this shoe well. It has some flex points over here, which is good. And this shoe is not super flexible. You can see it's pretty rigid. Even though it does have these flex points, I feel that because the midsole is so firm that you can't really feel it. As far as wear and tear, the shoe has held up pretty good. I've ran about 30 miles in them, so they've held up pretty good. Let's talk about the ride of these shoes. And I've kind of talked about this earlier. I felt that the ride was super firm. It was firm, and then there was issues with me having the firmness on the top, where I just got that crampy feeling around my feet whenever I was wearing them, because it just didn't allow my feet to breathe by expanding. So it kind of constricted my foot into the shoe, and all that led to a really firm ride. I didn't really feel a whole lot of oomph when I was running in them. They just felt like almost a very clunky flat shoe to me that wasn't really fast. I didn't feel any kind of bounciness or any type of energy return with these shoes, especially at slower efforts, maybe a little bit at faster efforts, but I did not feel too much return of energy at these shoes, if at all. As far as fit, they do fit true to size. So if you get a size 12, I wear a size 12, they fit me fine. The weight of these shoes for a size 12 is 11.9 ounces, so almost at 12 ounces. So they are actually a pretty heavy shoe when compared to other neutral trainers that I have. These are definitely on the heavier side. All right, so let's talk about my pros and cons of this shoe. Unfortunately, there's not going to be too many pros. The lacing technology is nice, and the loops instead of punch holes is also a nice feature, but other than that, that's all my pros. My cons are gonna be, it's a heavy shoe. This is almost 12 ounces. It's pretty heavy. The upper is super rigid. Over at the heel cup, it caused me blisters. This material right here really constrained my feet inside of them. Didn't allow it to breathe. I felt super restricted at the top. Also, the mid section right here, I felt it wasn't wide enough. That also led to some crampy feeling in my feet. And then the midsole, not a fan of that either. I didn't feel any type of bounce or any type of energy return with it. Felt super rigid and firm. So that's gonna be my cons for it. Who is this shoe for? This shoe is for somebody looking for a neutral trainer shoe who wants to try out Skora. But To be honest, I am going to give this a Goku Runner's thumbs down. I did not like running in the shoe. Again, this is just my review. This is my own opinion of the shoe. It may work for other people's feet, but for me, I just felt that it was too firm. The heel cup issue was bothering me also. It's a heavy shoe, and it's just not what I was looking for, especially from a Skora shoe. They really went in the total opposite direction from these shoes to these shoes. Skora, if you guys make your zero drop shoes again, I will definitely buy these, but as for these shoes, it's gonna be a Goku Runner thumbs down. All right, guys, I hate to end it like that, and I don't like to give negative reviews. I do wish the company the best, but for me, this shoe just did not work for me. And I do wish them the best, and I hope that they do make some other shoes. Hopefully, they make these shoes again. All right, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.